Morning, Keith.
Morning, Oscar. No, hold on, I take that back. You didn't knock. Knock on the door. No, go out of my office, close the door, knock on the door. You know the rules.
Can me and Victor stay?
Did either of you knock?
No, we didn't.
Are you technically in the room yet?
Yes.
No, get out. Come in. Good morning, Team 32.
Morning, Keith.
Morning, Keith.
Morning, Oscar. Morning, Laszlo.
Keith.
Victor. Right, let's begin. Briefing meeting with Department Research Team 32, chaired by myself, Keith Bilk, Under-Secretary to the Department Committee. Two things today. Firstly, your brief. The Department Committee wants a researched brainstorm on the state of democracy in Britain. All in favour of this being on my desk by 6, say aye. Aye. And secondly, we have a problem. The recent department audit has revealed that one or two items which you've requisitioned have not been dequisitioned.
Meaning?
Given back. They are listed in this document. These items must be immediately returned, or Oscar, as team leader, you will be held financially responsible. Any questions?
Yes. Keith, is it true that you've named all your goldfish after First World War battles?
Briefing meeting terminated.
The Department, far from the gaze of an unsuspecting public and untouched by the tentacles of Westminster. The Department has been secretly running the country since, oh, you'll never remember it, what's the point? Deep within its labyrinthine headquarters works a dedicated three-man think tank. Oscar Proud, historian, pro-am calligrapher and wine fascist. Victor Gooch, loner, finance guru and legal guru too. And Laszlo Wolf, science whiz and grade 5 trumpet. Each week, they are required to investigate possible solutions to one of the nation's major problems. Each week, your future is in their hands.
Going up.
So, how much stuff is actually missing?
Right, we owe the department a mahogany dining table with 8 folding mahogany chairs, 2 Category B birds of prey, a concrete Barabbas...
Level 3. Botanical Motivation Division.
Hello, Tony.
I'm not talking to you, lot. A corporate morality tenderizer designed by the Global Profiteering Division, and 17 6H pencils, and that is page 1 of 43. Without wishing to point the finger at this early stage of my investigation, Victor, where are all these items?
Laszlo signed them out.
Laszlo?
Laszlo did not sign them out.
They're all signed out by L. Wolf. Victor, back to you.
I was using his pen, it seemed only right to use his name as well.
That's a good name.
It's a beauty.
Level 4. Number Crunching Division.
So, Oscar, what's in the brief?
Democracy in Britain is in a state of advanced stagnation. We've only had one change of government in the past 25 years. That puts us level with Iraq and only one ahead of Cuba.
That's relegation form. If we're not careful, we're going to be demoted to a colony.
Level 5. Research Team 32.
I'll catch you up. I have an appointment with the Mega Breakfast.
The Mega Breakfast has cancelled on you, Victor. Office now.
Attention, Department employees. The Linguistics Division wish to announce the phasing out of the following words over the next 5 years. Barrel, toaster, redolent, and sniff.
Sit down, we've got work to do. Now, the committee wants us to haul British democracy into the 21st century by its one remaining testicle.
That's a very fair request. We in Britain now give less of an arse about politics than ever before. And yet, ironically, we are now more obese as a nation than we ever have been. So we actually have more of an arse to give. And yet, proportionally, we give less of that arse.
Shush now. Now, before we get going, you both need to understand where democracy began.
Oh, no, thank you.
Sit back down. Sit down. Modern democracy was fathered by the ancient Greeks.
Nice pets.
Democracy proved to be a problem child, gifted but noisy, and was put into care when the Greeks started abusing it. Britain, here seen on the left, adopted it about 1600 years later, but was a distant parent, preferring its successful one king, one vote system, which operated on a first king past the post basis.
And were those the days, Oscar?
Those were the days, Victor. Then in the 18th century, democracy was fostered by France and new kid on the block, America, who introduced it to the ideas of natural rights, political equality and freedom of speech.
That was like giving a child a tambourine.
Yes, it was, Laszlo, but the genie was out of the bottle, and eventually we had to grant it 3 wishes of votes for women, blacks and, latterly, selected Arabs.
Suckers.
Which brings us to the present day.
Well, voting is currently something you only do once every 4 years, like remembering about table tennis and digging up your treasure and reburying it somewhere else.
People should be voting 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. We've already got the technology.
You cannot vote on everything. You're going to face major logistical problems if people are voting continually over, whether we should be at war or not.
He is right. Public opinion is only ever one body bag away from growing its hair and singing about flowers.
If support drops below 50% in the middle of an operation, things could get awkward.
9 para, go, go, go! Sir, we've dropped to 49.7% approval for this. Hold it! Everybody stay where you are! The public's having increasingly serious reservations about the legality of the overall campaign. Last! Right, no one's going anywhere! Sir, Daniels has already jumped, sir! Oh, for goodness sake! Daniels, this is now a leisure jump! I repeat, a leisure jump!
If you want to make an omelette.
Continual voting is also going to exacerbate the problem of politicians paying far too much attention to public opinion on a minute-to-minute basis. They'll soon be wearing special earpieces hooked up to an approval meter, and there's no way that that isn't going to affect what comes out of their faces.
Minister, they're ready for you now.
Oh, good.
I'll just pop the Instapulse to 2000 into your ear.
Ah, thank you, Bridget.
I'll just explain how it works. That level is about 50% public support.
Righto.
When it dips right down here, that is pretty much a military coup.
We don't want one of those.
When it goes up here, you've got yourself spontaneous bunting.
I'll aim for that. Wonderful. Thank you, Bridget.
Knock 'em dead.
I will. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my party and I are delighted to announce our new policies for the forthcoming elections. We will be investing heavily in schools by raising income tax for asylum seekers. Now, the euro. My party is in favour of the euro never being adopted in this country unless the economic circumstances are right, which they never will be, because of the French. We believe in equal pay for men and women, and we are also committed to killing the firstborn. And finally, my party is committed to reducing crime through rehabilitation rather than heavy punishment. Now, I'm sorry, this is a fundamental principle we hold, that merely locking people up will solve nothing long term. Everyone gets a free balloon. Vote for us for a Balloons for Everyone Britain!
All right, point proved, box ticked. Now, next question. What is the biggest threat to British democracy?
Oh, I know this one. In fact, I'm presenting that category at the Department Awards tonight. The top 3 threats to British democracy are, in reverse order, politicians, the media, and Britain's seemingly unquenchable thirst for apathy. Turns out that terrorism wasn't even in the top 40.
She must be gutted.
She's not fussed, really. She's not really in it for the awards.
OK, so we're going to have to attack the problem of voter apathy at its deep, burrowing root.
Oscar, the law is an ass, and I, Victor Gooch, know exactly how to whoop that ass. We can use the law to eradicate apathy simply by making it illegal to be apathetic. 12:05. Interview with suspect Mark Rafferty. Present are myself, DS Parker, and with me, DC McPherson.
Right, Rafferty, you are staring down the barrel of 2 counts of aggravated apathy and a Section 15 willful indifference.
You've got the wrong guy, Constable. I care. I do really care about stuff.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's interesting. Well, you of course be able to tell me who the Secretary of State for Overseas Development is.
It's
Hillary shitting Ben!
I knew that. I knew it was her.
It's a man! It's a man, Rafferty! You don't know anything!
Now, honestly, Sarge, I do keep myself abreast of current affairs. I watch Newsnight.
Oh, yeah, what? Newsnight with Gary Lineker?
Look, Mark, I understand, I do. Politics is like that bagel machine we've all got at home in the corner of the lounge. Where's the time? If it's not work, it's the kids. If it's not the kids, it's someone else's kids.
Oh, you're right, Constable. We just don't have the time.
Don't have time for democracy! Oh, you make me physically sick!
Listen, Mark, let's take this slowly.
All right, it's just I'm disillusioned with party politics.
Lots of people are. So, you must have an opinion about the health service. Everyone's got one.
It's a good idea.
Now we're making progress. So maybe you're also in favour of foundation hospitals as a way of ensuring the Bevanite vision of universal healthcare for all.
Oh, all right, I really don't know.
You're bad to rights, Rafferty! I'll take him down the cell, Sergeant!
Leave me here!
You can't ban apathy, Victor. It is in itself a much-loved democratic right, and a right that people are willing to die for.
Testify.
Yeah, well, that's because there's no point voting anymore. In local elections, you're pretty much just voting on whether your wheelie bins are collected on a Monday or a Friday.
Well, there are some lunatic fringe parties who say take it on a Wednesday, but that's just a wasted vote.
Yeah. In European elections, you're voting on who owns Holland, and even in general elections, all you're really voting on is how hard you have to slam your head against the table when the news is on.
So, we need to answer the question, why are people apathetic, without the use of the answer, because they're morons.
Well, it's the politicians' fault. It's always been in politicians' interest to keep the electorate apathetic. They know that if you keep 40% of voters as far away from the ballot box as is humanitarianly possible, you only need about 25% support to win a landslide of Venezuelan proportions.
And politicians have become particularly skilled at repelling the floating voter. And by floating, I mean bobbing face down on the surface of a reservoir of disillusionment.
I'm not denying that the campaign trail is a filthy, unlit ramble through the lower recesses of the human soul. But, unfortunately, as long as mudslinging remains more effective than reasoned argument slinging, mud will be slang. And you don't even have to be accurate, that's the beauty of it. I'll prove to you just how effective it is. This should be a little treat.
None of the following is true. This is Oscar Proud, team leader, book clubber, and neoclassical pillar of the community. Or is he? Because scratch under the surface, and you'll find yourself a very different dog.
Victor, what have you done?
Shh, Oscar, I'm watching.
At the age of 12, Oscar Proud invented cancer, from which he still receives royalties today. And that's not all. He uses this blood money along with his grubby earnings from rubbing shampoo into little monkeys' eyes to fund his personal devastation of the rainforest. And yet, he wants your trust. But can you really trust a man who just last week killed his wife?
Oscar, darling, you look cross.
Paid for by Victor Gooch.
Oscar, you monster!
See, Oscar, it's a pretty powerful weapon.
Victor, why did you make that?
Oh, don't take it personally. I've got one of these for every member of the department. Even myself. I'm my own harshest critic.
There's absolutely no way that's true.
Right, that settles it. Campaigning must be cleaned up. No smear campaigns, no baby kissing, and candidates must reveal clearly who is standing behind them with a fistful of notes and a Christmas list.
I think we're barking at the wrong burglar here. Apathy just isn't as rampant as people make out. The public are more politically engaged now than they've been for years.
Fact.
Yeah, but people just get dispirited, and after every one of these mass expressions of democratic opinion, the government just turns around and says, what part of maximum 5-year term do you peasants not understand?
Oh, come. The government haven't got time to listen to every whinging million-strong crowd ranting on about how they want something and they want it now.
Yeah, well, they should make time. Let's set aside one day a year for mass public protest, when the government and the media are constitutionally obliged to at least skim-read the placards.
Very good. And that's lunch.
Oh, great.
It's picnic day in the canteen, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
They've toasted over, hired a couple of screaming children and shoved a wasp nest in the corner.
Attention department employees. Following this morning's military coup in Haiti, the answer to question 24 in last night's department quiz, who is the president of Haiti, has been thrown into considerable doubt. Would the Boffins and Knock Knock Who's There Barry Barry Who Barry's quiz team please report to the office for a head-to-head tiebreaker?
What's on the menu?
Hold on, that can't be right. It's just Scotch eggs.
Hello, Team 32. Are you enjoying my special picnic menu?
That is not a menu, Keith. That is a truckload of Scotch eggs.
It's the all-in-one meal. It needs no adornments. Anyway, you lot will be in a stronger position to criticise my Scotch eggs when you have either returned all of the missing items in my big list or come up with the money. You've got a problem with the Scotch egg, you've got a problem with Keith Bilk.
That is a deal. Laszlo, catch this frisbee.
Ow.
Sorry, Keith, I didn't see you there.
I'm right in front of you, and that was a plate. Right, I want the items by 6, Oscar, or you're going to be kneeling down in front of the king of invoices, pleading for a royal pardon. Understood? Right, later.
Victor, for the love of God, where are all these items?
I gave them to charity.
What charity?
The Victor Gooch Online Gambling Debt Relief Fund.
It's a big cause.
Well, in which case we're going to need to find the money to replace them.
We?
I'm pretty sure Keith said you.
He said you, Oscar.
Oh, I'm ruined. I'm going to have to sell my signed Albert Speer pyjamas.
Don't fret, Oscar. Your brutalist nightwear is safe. I've never in my life been in a financial crisis that wasn't instantly solved with a sponsored swim.
That's right, there's no way even you can raise £750,000 on a sponsored swim.
I'm giving you the wolf guarantee.
It's good enough for me. Let me know if I can help.
I will. I will let you know when you can help. Let's go the long way back to the office via the photocopying arena. I want to stare at Wendy.
Going down.
All I'm saying is that maybe we'd cherish our democracy a bit more if we were forced to have 1 year in 10 of brutal dictatorship.
Level 9. The British Empire.
Shut that bloody door!
Dictators get a bad press.
Not in their own countries, they don't.
Yes, they can have a quirky approach to procedural matters, but there are some areas they cannot be beat on, such as inspiring creativity.
Well, we can test that bullshit out in the labs.
Don't bother, it's done. Stop the lift.
Level Q. Storage.
I wasn't going to show you two this. I've got Ted Hughes locked up down here.
I thought he was dead.
No, I faked it. I've been getting him to write poems under different controlled conditions. Stand here and watch this. I'm going to get him to write the first poem as a free man. For the second one, I will be oppressing him.
Hello, Victor.
Hello, Ted. So I'm going to play some soothing music just to make him feel nice and unoppressed. All right, Ted?
Yes.
Comfortable?
Lovely, thanks, Victor.
In your own time, Ted, please, write me a poem.
The Kent Agricultural Show has never been held in the snow. The bulls tend to freeze when it's up to their knees, as their balls hang uncommonly low. Was that okay?
It's very good.
It's all right.
It's not a bad poem. It's not a great poem. It's a niche poem. But listen to what happens to the quality of Hughes's creative output as I begin to oppress him. I'll just put some harsh lighting on. He doesn't like that. And I'll just put this hood over his head. It's a lovely memento. Right, Hughes! Write me a bloody poem!
All right, I've got one. The howling of wolves, the raging of the stormy sea, and the destructive sword are portions of eternity. Oh, no! Too great for the eye of man. Oh my God!
Look at the difference!
That's not even his, that's William Blake.
Oh. Well, still pretty good. Cheers, Ted. I'll drop your dinner in later.
See you later, Victor.
The bigger the window into your soul gets, Victor, the more I am tempted to shop for curtains. We'd better get back to the office and do some proper work.
Attention, department employees. The Sporting Glory Acquisition Section are happy to announce the following purchases. The 1978 Football World Cup, bought off Argentina. Congratulations to Ron Greenwood and the boys for that. And Jesse Owens' 100-metre gold medal from the Berlin Olympics, now awarded to Kenneth Strake, aged 92, from Newport, who also receives an OBE for services to athletics. A parade will be held in August.
Right, let's crack on. At the last two general elections, we've only managed around a 60% turnout, the lowest since 1918, when, to be fair, most of the electorate were a bit busy being dead.
All right, well, if you want to make voting more exciting, at every general election there should be 5 golden ballot papers entitling each lucky winner to a magical journey around the Department of Trade and Industry.
That's not your idea, Laszlo.
You're right, it was Mrs. Pankhurst's idea. She had a lot of crazy ideas about voting, and this was by no means her worst.
Was it not Roald Dahl's idea?
No, he pinched it off Pankhurst. He nicked all his ideas off the suffragettes. Have you never seen the early draft of James and the Giant Peach, where little James goes to the Derby and throws himself under the King's enormous peach?
Let's get people to vote by scratch card. Think how exciting it'll be. You'll go into the booth, a fundamentally moral human being, get out your little 10p, scratch away, turns out you're a bit of a racist. Something to talk to the kids about when they get back from school. Did you have a nice day today, Dad? I had a lovely day, son. Can Sundip stay for dinner? No, he can't.
Voting's already a gamble, though, Victor. No one really knows what they're voting for. It's clinically impossible for any human being to read a whole manifesto without keeling over and dying of futility. Laszlo, may I take it from you crashing your cymbals that you've had an idea?
You sure may. If we want the country to take the blindest bit of notice of political policies, it's time for Britain to stop beating about its bush and embrace American-style presidential debates. They tick every box. They're exciting, they're massively simplistic, and everyone loves a fight.
After months of verbal sparring in the media, the two contenders came face to face for the first time at the pre-debate press conference, and the tensions were running high.
You're going to see the total destruction of the leader of the opposition and his party. He can't compete with me on a fiscal level. I'm too good for him.
Prime Minister, you're a clown. I'm going to take your crown. On education, I'm going to knock you down. When you raise an issue, I will tear you like a tissue.
You've got no policies.
You're weak on pension.
Come here and say that.
Let's do this right now. I'm here. Keep biting my leg. Keep biting my leg.
And so to the debate itself. The PM started well, picking up quick points on healthcare and the decreasing budget deficit. We'll pick it up now at the end of the fourth round.
If you look at the figures, you'll see that crime has fallen year on year for the past 4 years.
And that's a good shot. That'll have hurt the opposition leader.
That is not true. Violent crime is up. People are living in fear because your government has capped the number of policemen on the beat.
Came back well at the end of the round there. Let's listen in to what the opposition campaign manager's saying.
You okay? Right, spit. It's tough out there, Gaffer. Right, you're getting murdered on domestic issues. You gotta counter with some foreign policy. Okay, he's hitting you low with the popular stuff, but don't be afraid to give him some back, okay? And watch out for him lining up immigration. Practice haymaker.
I know that. Yeah,
this is like back in training, Joe. Go on, stat, policy. What is it?
Stat, policy.
Good. Right, come through. Right. Now get out there and rip him to pieces. Okay, you can do this. You can do it.
As the rounds went on, both men tired, and the contest became scrappy, until the Prime Minister made his class tell with a knockout blow on the health service.
Your proposal will result in pensioners having to travel up to 40 miles to see their doctor.
He's wobbling. This could be it.
Is that true?
The British public do not trust you, they do not believe in you, and they will not vote for you.
He's down. The towel's coming anyway, and the PM is moonwalking around the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner in the fifth topic by economic knockout and still Prime Minister.
It's politically shallow, it's essentially meaningless, and it's profoundly insulting to the British public. But don't stand there and tell me that you wouldn't find that exhilarating. I'll rest my cymbals.
We're still left with the fact that the greatest reason why people don't vote is the unappetising laminated menu of for whom they can vote.
That's because the vast majority of politicians are ambitious careerists and self-centred glory hunters.
That's a bit of rich coming from you, Victor.
Oh, it sure is. That is a wealthy comment.
Anyone actively wanting to go into politics should be banned from doing so. Everyone else should be randomly selected to the government as a kind of jury service.
Oh, post's here.
Brilliant. Has my ointment arrived?
Doesn't look like it.
Oh.
Bill, circular, red box. Oh no, I've been summoned, love. I've got to do a fortnight as Foreign Secretary.
Well, you can't do it. Who's going to look after the kids?
Don't you talk to me like that. I'm a cabinet minister.
Keep your hair on. When do you start?
Foreign Secretary,
That's me.
we are your Foreign Office team, advisors, Press Secretary, and I'm your PA, and I introduce you to the Mexican ambassador.
Esta situación es insoportable. La falta de respeto de...
Quiet, Sanchez. I'm trying to watch the darts.
Inexcusable.
Why is he so upset?
Well, after a couple of comments your predecessor made, Britain is to all intents and purposes at war with Mexico.
And what are his demands?
Big apology.
They want a big apology, or put it this way, the people of Cornwall are going to be wearing sombreros.
The kids have always wanted to go to Mexico. Set up a fortnight of talks over there.
Consider that done.
Kids! Pack your bags! Your right honourable mother is taking you to Cancun!
You are skating on the extremely thin ice of people's sense of public duty there, and it's a hot spring day.
Government is too big a personal commitment. You're looking at a minimum of 4 years of journalists living in your bins. The right kind of people might be more inclined to give it a go if we drastically shorten the term of office to, say, 6 weeks.
Yeah, plus, they could force through some properly radical reforms.
Victor, whenever you say the word radical, alarm bells ring in my head.
If I had 6 weeks in charge, let me tell you, by the end of those 6 weeks, my successor would be inheriting a Britain with an enormous statue of me in the middle of it.
Yeah, well, that notwithstanding, it's not a bad idea. With a turnover of leaders that rapid, Britain might even end up voting for someone who's black or bald.
Or gay.
Once bitten.
Or a woman.
Twice bitten. But you still run the risk that voters will simply elect whoever has annoyed them the least on the telly.
That's easily dealt with. We can ensure that people vote for the party that is most suited to them by giving them access to psychological testing at polling stations.
Just lie back here, sir, and make yourself comfortable.
Right.
I'm Dr. Ostwick. This should only take a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Firstly, which of these issues is most important to you? Transport, health, or education?
Immigration, I think.
Lovely. And roughly what percentage of you is interested in human rights? Just a ballpark figure will do.
76%?
Interesting. Perhaps you might find another 24% somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just a quick yes or no question. What should Britain do about Palestine?
No.
All right. Let me just prescribe you the appropriate vote.
Doctor, is my political persuasion normal?
Well, you're certainly not alone. My guess is that your politics have been heavily influenced by your relationship with your mother.
Oh, you're right. You're right. She cut her tax on my pocket money and then made me pay for my own shoes. It's the only system I understand.
Have a lollipop. Okay, here's your vote.
Yep.
Just pop it in that box over there and we'll see you for the referendum.
Thanks very much. That is also going to help reduce the number of psychologists leaving the profession. Or, conciselier, shrink the shrinkage.
Finally, some good news for our beleaguered couch farmers.
Great, we're done. An active, informed, inclusive democracy that moves so quickly no one can screw it up that badly.
It's what our forefathers fought for.
It's what my forefathers conscientiously objected to.
And it's what my father fought against. So everyone's happy. Put the disc in the chute, Laszlo. Job done. Now, the sponsored swim, have we raised enough?
Easily. We're even going to have a few grand left over to help rebuild the tennis courts.
That ball was clearly out. End of discussion.
Should we go and watch the swim then?
Sure, Oscar. Bring your trunks.
What?
You're swimming.
I can't swim.
I know that. People want value for money from sponsored swims these days. They want to see a battle. Man versus water. Can't we've only got to do a length.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elwolf Promotions is proud to present tonight's sponsored swim. Thank you all for your extremely generous support. In lane 4, Oscar Proud, Team 32. Choice of stroke, the Desperate Thrash. I will now hand you over to your race official, Mr. Keith Bilk. Thank you. On your marks, set, go. He's gone. Legitimate start.
You're doing all right, Oscar. You're doing okay.
8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds. Release the shark. Release the shark.
Throw me my float! Throw me my float!
No floats allowed. No floats.
For God's sake, swim, Oscar! I've got 750 grand riding on this!
The Department was written and performed by Chris Addison, John Oliver and Andy Zaltzman, with Peter Dickson, Matthew Holness and Lucy Montgomery. John Inverdale and John Rawling appeared as each other. Produced by Richard Grocock and John Naismith, The Department is an Avalon production for BBC Radio 4. Let us never speak of this again.